I think it was time to do this video. There's a lot going around my head right now, and a lot of swirling about. So I'll start with next month. I'm going on a trip to Mexico to experience Ibogaine and DMT as part of a nonprofit called Mission Within, and they help veterans go for this kind of treatment. For those that are not aware, there's a big push in the United States right now to increase the research and funding for Ibogaine because of the, for lack of a better word, miraculous ability it has to help people near instantaneously recover from years of traumatic experiences, from addictions, brain injuries, PTSD, et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole lot of fun rabbit hole information you can find online about the push to legalize. And yeah, I think it's a good thing that the other day there was an act signed in the White House to promote the research of psychedelics. So step in the right direction, I think. I've been trying to frame what I want out of it. The coach that I'm working with has asked me to write down a couple really concise statements about my intention going into the trip, or intentions, 3 to 5 intentions. And because you guys know me, I spent a lot of time in the in-between, right? Like holding two truths simultaneously is difficult. And on the one hand, I think it's important to have intentions and to set our consciousness on the thing that we want. And at the same time, I don't want to have too many expectations because that's a great way to be disappointed. And I also want to trust the wisdom of the medicine and trust the wisdom of the universe to bring me whatever I need and deliver whatever I need. Because sometimes we're good at tricking ourselves about what we need. We think it's one thing when really it's another. And part of the reason I wanted to do this video too is for myself. I want to be able to come back and watch this and see the shift in myself from before the Ibogaine and DMT and after. So something I'm struggling with a little bit today is this lifelong feeling of not being fully seen. A lifelong feeling of being a little bit misunderstood, a little bit misplaced. And, who knows the origins of that? I could imagine where that might have come from a little bit, but also I think that it's part of my path in a bigger way that I haven't seen before, that I'm carrying some generational stuff. And a lot of us are, I think, without fully realizing what that generational stuff is. And shout out to Majana for helping me see that in a recent conversation. Check out majanadawn.com. She's the best. So this desire to be fully seen, in the last couple years that I've been on this spiritual journey and trying to understand myself and drop my baggage and unpack things and get closer to my divinity and my intuition and the core of who I was before I learned how to behave differently according to the world's impositions. I've had a few moments where I feel close to divinity and I'm like, wow, I fully see myself and I'm so grateful for that. So I've been trying to foster that even more. But goddamn, is it hard to persistently feel not seen, not fully understood. Y'all, it has literally happened many times in recent months where I say something and someone changes the subject, or someone leaves the room, or decides to leave the party because I was too open or too honest or too vulnerable for them. I think it's part of my purpose to be a mirror And I'm increasingly acutely aware of the fact that I make people uncomfortable. And I'm mostly okay with that because I feel like I'm fulfilling a purpose by being a mirror and helping people see who they really are. And I'm not taking like egotistical credit for that, right? It's just kind of a thing that's been emerging increasingly, and I'm seeing it more. I'm like, okay, I think this is one of those things I'm supposed to do. But at the same time, it's really flippin' lonely. It's hard. It's hard to be in a room with people that you love deeply and trust, and just even the people that are making a genuine effort to sit with your depth and vulnerability, to be able to see and sense the discomfort in them is really hard. It's lonely, and I've been really struggling and vacillating. Is that the right word? Kind of vibrationally ping-ponging back and forth between I have to be okay with not being seen by others because I can see and know myself in that way. And the other side being, I feel like a deserving person. Why shouldn't I have the hope that I will be seen in that way? Hope is so important for everyone. It's one of those core driving human fundamentals that persistently comes through on a regular basis. And it has for me in many ways. So how do I hold stabilization in the middle ground between I am justified in hoping for this thing that I don't feel like I hardly ever get, and I can provide it to myself? What's the middle ground? And I think that this is my message, maybe from the universe, from my higher self, to set the intention that I will get to see myself a little bit more through God's eyes when I go on this spiritual trip next month. The literal airplane trip and the psychedelic trip. I think I need to set that as an intention and be okay with it if that doesn't happen. And my challenge between now and when I go on that trip is to continue trying to uproot this victim mentality that remains rooted in my brain. It's so wild, isn't it, to one day feel like, oh, I've defeated that victim mentality shit. And then the next day, something pops up again. But I'm optimistic that, the miracle of ibogaine and the literal, physiological, neurological changes that it makes can help me kind of defeat some of that wiring that is still just cumbersome. But I have other hopes for what I'll get out of this trip. But perhaps most importantly, I wanted to say to those of you that feel invisible, to those who feel like you're constantly doing work that no one sees, those of you that are busting your ass trying to get your own heart and mind back online to full optimization, those of you that are doing the work to drop the baggage and you're the only one giving yourself applause, for those of you that just feel weird, feel like you don't have a place, that you're a square peg and the world is all round holes, I can relate. You're not alone. And I think perhaps more importantly than that is there's a purpose for our weirdness, even when we can't see it. And even if I don't always feel the truth that resonates from that statement, I'm still going to hit that button. I'm still going to buy into it. I have to. It's just seated deep within me, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. There has to be a purpose for the weirdness. There has to be a purpose for our willingness to make people feel uncomfortable and our willingness to be authentic and vulnerable, even when everyone in the room is shifting in their seats. So I hope that if and when you feel weird, you love yourself through it. And if you need to, revisit that inner child that felt shunned for being weird and let them know that it's all for something and that they're valuable and that they're loved, and that one day at some point the purpose for all of that is going to show itself, and that's something to look forward to. I might see you again before I go on this trip next month. I might not, but either way, until next time, you're very loved. I see you. Take care.